is the updated one. Doo-doo. There we go. Ha ha. Booyakasha. Boy, what is up? What's going on? Doing basically the same thing as last week, except we're making Fiend decks. Last time we did zombie decks. History Yugioh, what's up? You ready for some ASMR here? Got some Dr. Pepper, strawberries and cream, 0 sugar. I also have a light up here this time. I have like my normal lights on, but I recently got a light from my computer. That's like a plug-in USB thing. We are in the Fiend Club today. Bang. Always gotta say bang when you open soda. That's my rule. That was a lot in there. Bang! Yo, J2B Gaming, what's up? Why people grade their cards, especially expensive cards, don't got that kind of money to buy. Some people like to collect, and some people like collecting. I mean, 5K is a lot. I don't know who's spending that kind of money unless you're like buying Tyler the Great. Even like TP2 Morphing Jar or like the DDS Dark Magician Blue Eyes, they're around like the 1 to 15K range, 2K range, you know. I really like Yuki Kaiba format Fiends. Also, I noticed like down here, I don't know when they added this dueling book, but they have all the ban lists here, which will be, it's very nice to have. Maybe this is when they added the Edison ladder last week. They even got like OCG. It was there last week. 3K card is very expensive. Yeah, I did not notice last week then. The most expensive card I have is a TP1 Mechanical Chaser, which is the European version, so it's not as expensive. That one definitely cost me a pretty penny. Like, I don't think I'm going to fork out 1K for Morphine Jar unless I sell something for the purpose of using that for that. But until that point comes, which is unfortunate because I'm like slowly collecting Tournament Pack 2 stuff. But some people like the investment, you know. A lot of it for people collecting that much, it's more for investment than like buying it to play. You know what I mean? Like they'll buy it now and sell it off when they see fit. Right. So I hate my mic is like right here because I can't see my keyboard ever. Probably when they decide like they need to make a big purchase or they need the money or they think the market's hit a peak. It's probably like, you know, something along those lines. Like there's no specific time span, but that's like generally what we're looking at. If, you know, if you do that kind of stuff. I don't. I bought one cased card and I cracked it open because it was actually the cheapest one I could find. That was a TP2 Skull Guardian. People might buy. You never know. Depends on the market. Depends on the rarity of the card. I'm sure a lot of them don't. You know, I'm sure. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that kind of market will go down a lot. For like, I don't see people forking out a ton of money for a PSA 10 magical ghost. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna have to reduce the cost at some point. It's not gonna stay absurdly high for too long. Like we've seen that it's a bubble, right? We've seen that kind of bubble with stuff like Pokemon cards to an extent. Video games is a big one. OCG packs, yeah, yeah. What's up, Darkwing? Yeah, a lot of those OCG stuff. Um, definitely more interesting. Definitely holds like solid value, depending. What was it? Man eating. Hate the hyphens. So there's two like solid fiends. Rikishin's the best one. I don't know if we're playing man eating treasure chests, and the other one, which this is more of like an old school tech, is Baron of the Fiend Sword, which this is what sold me on Fiend Equip when I was first getting into March 2000 or May 2002. I I didn't know much decks, right? I knew of like the standard good stuff, and this was kind of the other deck I saw. Or there's also dragons. Um, this is one of the ones I saw, and Baron the Fiend Sword was the monster I won my first Yu-Gi-Oh game with back in summer of 2002. It was post Metal Raiders. I know that because my opponent had a Cocoon of Evolution. They had an attack mode. Go format is the summer of 2005. We are way early. We're in May 2002. This is the first format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Of the TCG that includes a list. $23 for Volume 1 pack. I mean, sealed stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! Tends to hold value. I have a complete Volume 1 set. Not like first ed stuff, but I'm not that picky about all that. But yeah, my opponent had a monster that Cocoon in attack mode, low enough life points where I summoned Baron. Because while I played, I did play Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in May 2002. I didn't have like my own deck until the summer when I got the Yugi starter deck. And for whatever reason, I definitely remember that, my first win with that. So, like, Fiends have a special place. I don't know if we'll run Fiend Sword. It's definitely, like, old school tech that doesn't really hold up super well now. But that said, with their assets, Dark Magician Girl, yeah. Any like anime boss monster, like the popular ones, Dark Magician Girl, Red Eyes, Black Dragon, Blue Eyes, like they hold value. Like if you want to get the secret rare of the speed duels, like get it now while it's still out there, then wait another 5 years. The neat thing about fiends that Summon Skull's a fiend. Also, I'm kind of wearing my Halloween costume. I was going to wear the gloves for my costume too, but it doesn't really mesh well with a keyboard and mouse. If anyone knows what I'm, dressed up as from a movie. Also, I was listening to last week's stream just to get like a gauge on the because I had background music on last week's stream, and I could barely hear it. It was so quiet. And two things: one, no one said anything, but also two, apparently YouTube could hear that because there's split revenue sharing on that. Even, I mean, not like I get anything from these streams really, but it's like, how the hell did YouTube hear that? What's the deal? It's crazy. But yeah, with Summon Skull being a fiend, I mean, Skull's still like a great monster in the deck. And also Logion's a fiend. So Fiend Equip is, I mean, it's kind of the same as like the zombie deck, but we're not going to build the same deck, just replacing one monster, right? We want to do something a little different. Question is, do we want to summon skulls? That's the question of the day. Also, I think this is the first stream with my new layout too, I believe. I did upload a video this past Monday, because I think I made it on Sunday or Monday. But I think it's my first stream using my new layouts I made. A little nicer. And I created like a bunch of them too. There's one with the chat box, there's one without the chat box. There's one with just for just my like webcam, and then there's one just for the screen. Like I went all out on these. Wall Evolution is a fiend. I think the question is that like how far gone do we want? Wall Illusion, I think people have like slowed down on it because of Giant Soldier of Stone, but for the sake of this video, let's like just I don't know, go all out. I don't know if I want to play 2 Skulls. I'm a little mixed on Skull. Like Skull's nice. Like I don't think we're gonna play Baron the Fiend Sword. Let's just because Banning your Treasure Chest, that'd be the other one we'd play. It's like theoretically we could play one Manning your Chest, take out a Summoned Skull. But also, I don't know, the one of feels kind of weird for me, doesn't it? Especially since we really don't need more Fiends, right? We have 6 like beaters, low level. Mecha. I want to do some mecha stuff at some point. I know I'm a list purist, but I've enjoyed mecha. Shout out to my homie Mecha Piece. Yo, Shadow of the Moon, what's up? Other than Kamuri Dragon, Kamuri is the strongest. Other than that, Lesser Dragon, I think. Man Treasure Chest is so cool looking. Like this would look kind of cool as like a very, like a super rare, Blackland Fire Dragon. Oh, you're right. That was from the deck. I was thinking of sets, and it did come out in Metal Raiders, but it was in the Yugi deck, I think. This is in the Yugi deck, right? Like Yugi or Kaiba. There's our Bat Dragon over here. Yeah, much higher defense. The other interesting thing for Fiend Equip is that we can actually, not Fiend's Energy, well, Dark Energy. We have Dark Energy, which in most cases is a worse. The only benefit with Dark Energy is that we can equip it to Wall Evolution and buff Wall's defense points, because it increases attack and defense as opposed to Sword, which increases attack and lowers defense. However, 400 is much better than this. Go figure. So it's usually better cases just to run this, I would think. Because it's weird to run like just one card just in case for this. Like at that point, you might as well run Castle Walls. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting card to consider. The question is, what do we cut? Probably reinforcements. Because if the main thing is like our equip magic, we kind of want the equip magic. I feel like these older formats should be more known and played more in tournaments. Everyone plays GOATS or Edison, but I find these formats fun because of their strategy and skill. I mean, there's a lot of places to play them in like Discords and stuff, but like Konami stuff or popular things, it's kind of hard. Because even like the, if you consider like Edison GOAT like tier 1 alongside modern play, or like speed duels, like currently supported formats, or minus the two Time Wizard supported. You have some other ones. There's like Tengu Plant. I know it's popular. Hat. I do. I feel like Perfect Circle should get more love. And yeah, like Yugi Kaiba and some of the other DM era formats would be fun. I feel like Critter would be like the one though that would get more support by, Konami. If they did like a Time Wizard thing from DM era. It's possible they could do like Worlds 2003, 2004 type of deal, but who's to say? I don't know how they decide it. What if we did something like... I just feel weird taking out like all these cards, like the reinforcements. We could potentially cut out a Swords of Revealing Light. Because like the worst thing is to attack into like a wall or a bug. Yeah, Critters are really fun. Like that's definitely one of my like favorite formats. If I had to pick like a top 5. Thank you for loving my history and deck videos. I don't really do deck videos too much anymore, but a lot of that stuff is more posted on Patreon. Or not Patreon. Discord. My Discord. Where is your Wretched Ghost of the Attic? Unfortunately, it is not out yet. What's up, Hudovi? Although it is getting a retrain. Part of the Memento archetype. Which is cool. So that's... Yeah, May 2002. Otherwise, that'd be very fun. We could potentially add like a third. Like if we took that out and added like a third this guy, that kind of covers the bases. Like it is a worse reinforcement, but I don't think it's terrible. Like a 400 attack buff. Like something like this, I don't hate. I've always really liked Rikishin Power too. Just a big buffed up gargoyle. Something pretty dope about that. Especially if you really wanted to go all out, you could do like a Rikishin deck. Of just Rikishins. Fortunately, we can't play Rikishin Clown. That'd be, I don't even remember when this guy came out. One of the DM era sets. But Rikishin is really bad, though. Like, normal Rikishin. It'd be cool if there was, like, a Gargoyle archetype. I could see that. I could see, like, a field spell that's just, like, a Gargoyle tower or something. You could do Rikishin Zera deck. That'd be pretty based. It'd be garbage, but if you're playing, like, a super casual deck with people, you could do something. Yeah, Zero the Man is basically like a blue Rikishin. Or Gargoyle adjacent anyway. Too bad we don't see more of the Zera cards. Like, this is the most recent one. This was just this past, I think last year. Al Ghul Mazera. But generally, yeah, we don't really see much from the Zera line. Make a video about the obscure Yu-Gi cards that were never printed. I've had an idea for like video game cards, but just never got around to it. All the, like the videos and stuff I want to talk about, but maybe. I have made a video. It's a really old video of like cards that aren't in GOAT format that people might have thought they were. A lot of like anime cards. It's like kind of an older video though. I think it has Dark Magician of Chaos on the thumbnail. This is probably as like best fiendy as we'll get with this deck, I think. I feel like Summon Skull is just like a really good card to have. Want a recolored? No, I. You're probably thinking of my like trivia videos, my Yu-Gi-Oh, like my Did You Know Yu-Gi-Oh, that had a lot of the, like those segments in it. Some of the early episodes about the recolors. I like those videos. They just a lot of people like them, but they just took a lot of work out of me for like a short video. Just like start looking up pretty much every single card in the set in exhaustive detail. I wish I could just hire an editor. That's like the goal. I like editing. Like that's my job, full time job. But YouTube content takes work. So now with May, what's the next one? July. Let's go to July. So July 2002. Now things are going to look a little different. We got stuff like Heavy Storm, Sangan Witch. So it doesn't include the erratas, but oh well, we know what they are. What to cut? Probably at least. See, I don't think I've really messed around with Fiend decks from Critter format. Zombies, sure. I mean, Sangan is a Fiend. But what's the Fiend's game plan here? I don't know if we received any, like, good Fiend cards. Mirror Force, of course. Is there any other beaters? Dragumo's Insect, Dark Elf, no. I wish I could look up sets in this. I'm trying to think. This definitely is a little tough. Probably don't need to run two. Probably get away with just one. Yeah, well, they're authentic in regards to, it's a lot of Takahashi kind of, either his direct designs or inspired designs of like the creepy Egyptian demon aesthetic. Might want to run, if we're still going the equip strategy. I mean, we got Stim Pack now. This original red art. I don't know if that's better. I mean, 700 is a lot more than 400, but the 200 is kind of bad. Do we want Stim Pack? Karibo, Big Eye. Bistro's so bad, though. I'm like, that draw 2 thing. Like, we can't do an OTK in this format, I'm pretty sure, right? Bistro Butcher. I mean, Big Eye's a maybe, but even still, like, that's mainly good in Exodia. Like, that secondary effect's terrible. It is an option. I mean, Krita would be like the one if you wanted to run like a one of, just for the lulls. We could even go more of like a soul exchange fiend thing instead of equip. That's a possibility. Paralyzing potion. Nah. We could do like 2 Stimpaks, 2 swords potentially. I think we might. If we're going equip, you might want to run at least one magic jammer to stop like heavy storms or something that destroys our dark destruction. Ooh, I think this is a thing. Let me. Drakmord. That could be. It was that in the set? Was that the set? I remember this card being kind of interesting. It's a very slow removal. However, it is removal nonetheless. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, like, it depends on the deck. I feel like you need a very specific deck to run this. Otherwise, you might as well just run, like, Fissure or Tribute to the Doomed. Like, it's kind of like a stally equip card. Right? Mask of Darkness. Don't know if I want to run Mask of Darkness. We could, like, not do Fiend equip. Let me... And just have Fiend more, like, as in, like, Fiends. It's 1, 2, 3, 4... 7. I mean, that's like 7 Fiends right there. Where's 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Flip, Fiend, beat, Battlestar Galactica. $11. Wait, one. Oh, I was skipping Lodge in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is why you're here. A flip. I don't think I've ever built a flip deck in Critter. I've done mass negation. And I guess we already have enough flips to make it flippity dippity. I have a sealed Critter deck that I've used, that I run a couple paralyzing potions in. Fortunately, my friend he is the one that got the heavy storm, not me. It's just me, or is like someone's called really blurry down here. We could run 2. potentially. I don't know. Karibo. Aunt Karibo. When are we eating this guy? It's been a bit since he was announced. Take no battle damage. Sure, let's add one. Why not? I don't think I ever had Karibo in decks. I don't think one's going to harm the deck too terribly. We could run a Solemn. I've always been a big fan of one Solemn. Two Swords might be, though, if we're going the flip route, this might be the best way to go. See, I don't mind something that looks like this. How are you all thinking about this? 3 viewers, 3 likes. Let's go. I almost feel like we need like a cannon soldier though. Right? Maybe remove a fissure? Something like this. This feels a little better. Yeah, I'm liking how this is looking. It's definitely weird looking at how Fiend decks are at this stage in the game, because it is not archetypal in the slightest. It's just like, hey, I'm running slightly different cards type of deal, right? I mean, I think it's kind of cool looking. The question is, compared to the last stream, do we want to stick with the same formats, or do you want to like switch things up? Because Magic Ruler added some stuff, but we could just like skip ahead to something later that has more of an increased card pool. Let's Flash Assailant OTK. Hell yeah, let's do Flash Assailant OTK. I don't think I've built that before. What the hell is Flash Assailant OTK? I mean, I assume it runs... he's a Fiend. He looks way more like a warrior type. Because Flash Assailant and Giant Germ are like the new Fiends. But does Giant Germ work in this deck? And also by this point, we're not going to need any of these guys. So Flash Assailant, decrease the attack and defense of this card by 400 points for each card in the hand. So is the idea, I'm guessing, to use like Acts of Despair? Like dump your hand out with just like... Now look at Reverse Trap. Until the end phase, all effects that add or subtract are now reversed. So, but wouldn't that be like you would have a limit though, because when you have, what was it, like 5 cards in hand, his attack is 0. Like, it doesn't stack beyond that, does it? Like, if you have 6 cards, it doesn't, like, because 0 is 0. Can't go beyond 0. But I suppose that's still 4K. And if you have 2 on field. Okay, so it it affects as soon as it goes off, not like the current. It's not like Shield and Sword. I haven't touched this card since like I found out that it doesn't like work on like chaining stuff, but okay. But even still, you can only have like so many cards in hand, right? Like 6 or let's say 8 max if you use like Pot of Greed. But that's still, I mean, essentially, if you have 5 cards in hand and 2 of these on field, that's 4K. Let's get rid of stuff I know I'm not going to be even, like, touching. Okay. This is interesting. I feel like this is the first. I know I've seen, like, Flash Assailant in, like, a side deck, but not this, like, Assailant OTK. You also have, like, need a way to get both of them out, so do we, like... Do we Ultimate Offering or something? Don't know what the strat is. Is there a deck on like Format Library for this or something? Dark Zebra. Dark Zebra. If this is the only card you control during your standby phase, the only card is automatically placed in defense position. Cannot change it during the turn. Weird. I mean, low-level beast monster, it's like, it exists if you want to do like a beast deck. Like, as long as you have a face, like any card, monster or back row, it'll stay in attack. It's kind of neat. But we're not doing beast decks. Also, I do gotta say, this Dr. Pepper Strawberries and Cream, pretty good. It's really sweet, but I got the 0 sugar, so it's like mostly nothing in it aside from a little bit of sodium. So, this guy. Yeah, it's a beast. Then again, I can see where you're confused because this guy does not look like a fiend, but here we are. So I think, like, I don't know what the like general build of this would look like, because you want to protect this guy as well as getting a lot of cards in hand. Like, would Upstart Goblin help in this deck? Oh, was that 1 copy? Interesting. Just to get like another card. I know increase it by life points, but I mean, as long as you got like 2 on field, it fucks. I suppose Painful Choice helps too. As well with the Trinity probably helps too. Also, just like get rid of problematic cards to stop whatever your plan is, because you don't really care about life points in this kind of deck. Right. But how But I feel like we need more monsters though. Do you want like a low monster count? Do we max out on solemn judgments? Do we run giant germ just to get bodies on field and inflict some burn damage? I mean, I could definitely see an argument for it. Oh, tomato. Yes, indeed. I'm always forgetting about cards. Here's my German deck. Let's see. Something feels off. Is this looking right? I've never built this before. I mean, I dig the build. I'd just be worried about like getting into things. I mean, potentially we could cut like the heavy storms for because we don't want to get rid of like the chantable stuff. Cyber jar. We could also theoretically morphine jar actually might work too because we can just like set things. I think a challenging part would be just getting out, having two flash, like really setting up the combo. Like obviously this isn't a, um, top tier deck. Oh, if TP2 is illegal, right? Uh, well, it's hard to say. This it doesn't like it tells you the ban with not if cards are not allowed. Okay. I will take out morphine jar mainly because the majority of the community says that it is not in the format. While I will defend my choices, if the community wants to go one way, I'll go with them. You know, if they want to include a card like morphine jar, if they want to call something breaker format, I'm for the people. Yeah, people call it jar format. But it's definitely like a weird case though. I still think it's a little sus. Like it was basically released on the same day. Like if you play like a sealed tournament, sure you probably want to get like at the very first tournament, but I don't know. It was still around. Like you could still technically get the card on opening day, on like release date. Like there's nothing saying exactly that it was legal, but there's nothing really saying it like wasn't. That I can recall anyway. But I'm fine just leaving it out though. I do feel like this would be the deck though you probably would want to run upstart just to get any extra cards. Yeah, I wish double summon was a DM era card. It'd be so nice just to get two bodies on field. Because yeah, we have ultimate offering. I don't know how ultimate offering works. There's no other way. This guy can't be searched out by these two. But they can't get us into like anything else. Yeah, Cyberjar would be the thing you would have to do, like prey on Cyberjar. I mean, even Painful doesn't like get out. I mean, we can get out in regards to like Reborn, and this is before other revival spells. I like that we are using both Giant German Flash Assailant, though. I like using the. Because I feel like this is like the face, the gross face of Fiends in this set. I don't think MST would really help us much. We could run just one of these, but I don't know. Am I missing like another power card aside from MST? Yeah, Germ Burn. But this is spicy though. Like MSC is interesting because it does stop like our own destruction, but also doesn't really destroy much compared to like running 3 True Nades. Snatch Steal exists. Snatch Steal could actually help us potentially get into like Game Shot just by stealing a monster and attacking, you know. Even if we with that Ancient Heart, we can potentially get 2 monsters off field. Yeah, I can see Snatch Steal for sure. Magic Ruler is such a bonkers set with how many power spells it came out. It really is. Like, I don't think deck building was ever the same after Magic Ruler. With just how many of these cards like stuck around for years until the ban list. It's really nutty. It might be one of the greatest sets of all time in that regard. Next to like Phantom Darkness and Invasion of Chaos. And it's etc. Probably some like later 5D sets. This seems like a competent FTK if I've ever seen one. A lot of stalling, so definitely want swords. Yeah, I dig it. Waboku can protect our things if we're trying to sit on Flash Assailant. Saw him to like stop, whatever. Verse Trap. It's crazy. Yeah, if you got like a fully loaded hand and like add stuff with like Cyberjar and then Upstart and Pot of Greed, you can get pretty wild. All right, next I'm gonna want. I do want to jump. So we're almost at 5 likes. So I think we're gonna go to April this time. Android. We did Joey Pegasus last time, but we're gonna go a little bit before Graceful Charity and Sinister Serpent. So I don't think I'm gonna do the Assailant stuff. But we do have a new boss monster, though. We got Dark Necrofear. Probably going to want to run 1. Yep. One of you. One of you. One of you. And one of you. Necrofear is it's a really neat card. Like, it really was like the first monster of its kind. You know, like it's like pre-BLS, you know, in some ways. Pre-Vampire Lord. So destroyed by a card effect, you can essentially act as a Snatch Steal. Like, it's kind of neat. Like Janjo and Imperial Order. I probably don't need. I mean, Upstart's still like a really good card, I think. Haunted Premature Burial. That's another great card. A Giant Germ works great with that. The Fiends. With the Fiends. Probably take these guys out. Probably take those out. Maybe take these out too. Of course, we got our favorite trifecta. Though you have to keep in mind, though, with Bazoo, when keeping in Dark Necrofear. That is something to consider. So we could potentially kind of do what we did last time, is just run one Bazoo. But let's think about what else we would want to add first. I feel like I'm missing some key stuff. My brain's just like farting when it comes to Android format sometimes. I mean, Skull Air isn't. It does kind of conflict with Dark Necrofear, but it can still protect us from some things. I don't think we'll need Skull Air, though. Ooh, let's see here. Labyrinth of Nightmare. TT. Maybe some Jar of Greed. Yo, Obi-Wan. Fiend Mega Cyber hasn't been mentioned, but it is out. But he is a warrior, though. He is not conflicting to his name. He is not a fiend nor a machine. He is a warrior. Ain't that weird? That is very bizarre. We could probably run 3 MSTs. Especially with like Imperial Order running around. Earthbound Spirit exists as a defender. It's just Earthbound. Oh, yeah, I really like the Fiend Mega Cyber, but yeah, he's not a Fiend type, so yeah. It's definitely an interesting idea for a card. Like, it's pre-Cyber Dragon. But it's also, like, very specific. And otherwise, we have a better tribute monster in Jinzo. And if we don't run Jinzo, then we'd run Summon Skull, which, I mean, in theory, we could, like, do this. Because Skull's still good. He can hit over Jinzo, and that does mean something, right? And he also can work with Dark Necrofear. Now, we could run Jinzo even still. I wish this guy was a... I know he's Earthbound Spear, but I kind of wish he was a Dark just so I can get him off of Tomato. Otherwise, you can only get him off of Sangan. Because I don't know what a Defender really does to help us. Could potentially do this. Just because Bazoo does kind of conflict with some of our strategies. I don't know if that's too many high-level monsters. They're running 3. Necrofear is kind of a hard brick, inherent brick. I don't know what the right terminology. I really like the Fiends from the set. Unfortunately, they're all kind of terrible. Like 18 defense is okay, but Earthbound Spear is just better. Even if we can get this guy off of Tomato, it's like, like rather there's just things I'd rather just get off anyway. But he's definitely cool looking. I mean, it's cool that they did all those retrains a few years back. Because Baneful Joy can just dump like 3 Fiends from the get-go. Yeah, cool name. The Gross Ghost of Fled Dreams. It's wild. There's also the was it the Portrait Secret, the Earl of Demise, the Headless Knight, or whatever it's called. We could potentially like cut down Jar, but I think like Turbo Wing is kind of key here for running like a lower monster count. I don't think we have room to run another Necrofear, though. Because we're only at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fiends, not counting Necrofear herself. Don't think Scholar is going to fit in here. Don't think we need this. Don't think we need that. Now, would this card be too weird? Fairy Box. It does act as like a RNG protection for attacking over Necrofear. But if you're attacking over, you're probably running Janjo, in which Fairy Box would be negated anyway. So, don't know how well it helps there. By the way, next week I'm probably going to do a water deck, and that might be it for these types of streams, I think. But you're hearing it here first, folks. Do we still want to run Cyberjar, though? I don't know if we need Cyberjar, quite frankly. Honestly, Earthbound isn't, like, terrible if it, like, stalls us out. Just like a base defender. I don't hate it. Because now if we draw, like, Painful Choice, we can definitely do, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's, like, more than enough to summon Necrofear. So, like, even if we draw into one, at least we have like, more on average of things we can send. Same game we can send 2. You could argue just running like another Gemini Elf though or something, but I'll take it. So what format do we want to move from here is the question. Because we have a few stuff to pick from. Could jump to Yada format. Or we could just do different formats than we did last time. That's also like an idea. Yada. Yeah, I wasn't going to go to JP. But I think yacht is probably a on average the good one to go to. So now we're in. I said yacht 2003. Should be Og. I mean, really, the only thing with Breaker is just like adding tribe, like scientist and Breaker. But Yacht is a popular one, so I guess let's stick with some of the popular stuff. So now with this, was anything weirdly hit? I don't think so. I do get some new toys to play with though. One of which is Ring of Destruction. I'm gonna side the jars for now. So we could just run a Reckless if anything. Swords. Swords revealing light, you mean? Let's see. How do I want to bring about this deck? Yeah, we do have new beaters and stuff, so we don't really need Skull. Because this guy does the job and more in some regards. We could do like a reasoning deck. We could do reasoning. It sucks that like the reasoning deck at this point isn't like Reasoning Gate, because there are less things to like mill with, which doesn't really make it as fun. Like New Door is a great target for Tomato. You can probably get rid of the Bazoo. At least. Yeah, let's dump some stuff out here. Dark Droid's interesting. It's weird because it can target your own monsters, which isn't good. Like, if he's the only monster on field, then he, like, screws himself. So, like, I could see him running as, like, a one of. I don't hate Lesser Fiend. I'm just worried, like, in this kind of deck, it wouldn't be as beneficial. But potentially. I'm already running, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 tributes. If you wanted to go all Fiend, we could replace Janjo, but at this point, let's not do that. Don Zalu can get summoned off of Tomato too. If we don't want to go into Newdoria. Gives us more options for stuff. Let's see here. What are some of the other... Oh! How can I forget the most important part? No, I know Graceful Charity was on the list. Am I in the right August 2003? Was Graceful was at 1, right? Or was it at 2? Oh. Was it at 1 or 2? I don't remember. I feel like it got hit. Mirage and Nightmare. I was forgetting something. Jeremy Fiends. Jeremy Fiends. I'm still tempted to take out the Lesser Fiend. We're running like 1, 2, 3 high level monsters. But it's nice though, like with New Doria, we have like a really good monster to like float into, which is nice. Clear Recruiter. It's nice about Lesser Fiend though is that it can be revived from the graveyard, which Hades can't. And they both take care of Spy. I mean, all of them take care of Spy. It's probably fine. I'm probably overthinking it. Because we have a solid amount of draw power. I mean, we can just like, especially if we're like Mirage and Nightmare, and we just happen to discard Hades. That's kind of like a wasted card. We could run. Raigeki Break might be good too, because we can set up the graveyard potentially for a Fiend play, or even to like revive and tribute over. I don't hate running Raigeki Break. What would we cut in its place? That's the question of the day. Because I would like to run at least one Raigeki Break. Do we run like... Do we cut out like the Reckless Greed? But Reckless Greed is really good though. Because it gets us like quickly into like Mirage and Nightmare stuff and whatnot. That's like what is two draw phases. But I can also see a world where it's unbeneficial. Because this can also help against the Yada lock, which Reckless... I mean, it kind of does in regards to drawing cards, but that's kind of it. I kind of want to run a deck that's just like Reckless Greed and Jars and Upstart Goblin, like a super de-duper turbo deck. That sounds kind of fun to me. All these other cards, Fuses. Reaper can also be good in our deck too. I'm just thinking about that now. I know it's not a Fiend, but just like toolboxy. It's Fiend. Zombies are Fiend adjacent, right? But I don't think there would be anything else I'd cut out from our current engine. Like maybe if you wanted to replace like Don Zalug for Reaper, you could. But I don't think I want to. Maybe a Nidoria you could cut out. All possibilities. But I think it's fine. I think this is looking very Yada-y, if you ask me. So now... what do we want to jump to? Do do we just want to jump right to Chaos? Jump right to April. I don't think we did the... Did we do August list? Archfiends. We could do Archfiends and Vampire. I feel like Archfiends and Chaos is really bad. Okay, we'll fuck around with Archfiends. So now we add Dark Crisis to the mix. I don't think anything on our list was changed otherwise. It did add the thing to Graceful and Heavy, though. And Reckless. Yeah, I wish it would, like, or also, like, add all the other cards, but whatever. Now, this one's kind of busted, because this is where Infernal Queen Archfiend's, like, fucked up, right? Was it Infernal Queen I'm thinking of? Yeah, where it's, like, during both player standby phases. I'm pretty sure that was the ruling at this point. Which that's going to be key. I don't think we need the Necrofear package anymore. There's so many Archfiend cards. We could run, was it Archfiend? Terror King's probably worth running too. This guy also has, like... potentially negate the effect monster with this card. Hell yeah. Don't think we'll need that. What does this guy do? Potentially, I don't think. I don't know if we need that guy. Dark Bishop. This guy has like a lower level one, right? When Terror King... Yo, Tupac YGO, what's up? When they're going to be a new old meta video. So those are typically... at least consistently so far at the start of every month. So not this next Sunday, but the following Sunday should be the next video for my history series. It's very exciting. I gotta say, it's gonna be a end of an era. You could say. I also have a very exciting one for December too. Before we jump into New Year, the one in December is going to be more of a one of the more like unique topics, I think. So in Terror King Archfiend, which is this guy. Well, usually every video has a banned list. Typically speaking, at least the way it's been going on. Since like GX era. They fixed Infernal Queen. Well, no, it wasn't like on release though. Like when the set came out, wasn't it ruled differently? So this guy is like a weird... This guy's like a hand trap to revive. We could probably run like one to two copies of him, potentially. He also has high defense. Okay, so if it's fixed by the ban list, do we still want to run Infernal Queen? Oh yeah, Effect Veiler. Yeah, that was the last episode I made, I think, right? The Star Strike format. Where's the normal one? That guy is worth running. This guy looks cool. It's like Summon Skull, a little more Archfiendy. I'm gonna run like these guys. Probably still gonna want to run the Tomates. Probably not gonna care about. Could run one of those. I mean, probably still gonna want to run like Breaker Tribe. If I can spell it. Your wipe injectors. I'll get that stuff eventually. Sooner than later. I'm excited to get to them. I enjoy wind-ups a bit. Probably also DD, Warrior Lady. Scientist. You know, like staple stuff, you know what I mean? You hated them. I mean, there's been worse formats, right? I don't know if Yacht is still like worth running at this point. I don't know if we still. I mean, what's like Archfiendy enough, you know? First turn ripping 3 cards. I mean, you got Comfy, you got Delinquent Duo, and you got Forceful. Slate Warrior, what's up, CS? Slate Warrior is interesting. I mean, we have Archfiend Soldier, in which Slate is low defense and also weak to knock. Yeah, we're gonna add Pandemonium, but we're also gonna need to figure out what we want to take out. I'll put him in the side. He's definitely an interesting card. I could see running if we like potentially cut out Infernal Queen. If Infernal Queen's like errata, then yeah. Do we want to run something like that? Take out Nidori and Tomatoes? Falling Down is really good, I think. As long as we have an Archfiend on field, he can take out. It's a snatch steal. Without Tomatoes, then like Tomatoes is a good way to get into like Scientists or Sangan and stuff, though. That's what I would be worried about. I'm just taking out like non-essential stuff. Is DD at 3? Jeez. I feel like it's at 1. Is this right? The Pandemonium, I mean, it doesn't really do us much. Like, if these guys go to the grave, we can like summon out a Deathstroke, but that's about it. It's at 3? Jesus. Do we want to run 3 then? I mean, it's so good. But then, like, what on earth do we run? Do we cut? Do we want to run a terraforming? Or just 3 pandemoniums and, like, leave it at that? Maybe even cut that out. Ay, ay. Tough call, it is. Waboku? What is... Well, this says... Oh, wait. I had it down there. What does Waboku get us? Yeah, the side deck isn't that, like the actual side deck. That's just a for consideration. Trunk area. If you ran Infernal Queen. But the problem is, like, there's so much good, like, stable, like, general cards. I'm worried that if we had, like, Waboku, it would take, like, too much good spots out. Could potentially even cut out, like, Prima. Or Call. The suffering of decks, yeah. The suffering of no ban list, rather. Like, I'm saying this like all the time. It's a miracle that different decks existed back then, because the ban list really did fix a lot. Yo, what's up, Ladiolo? Yeah, Giant Germs. Some of the other decks we built earlier today used Giant Germ. Potentially cut this out for a third DD Warrior Lady. Yeah, like a ban list or a rotation or something. So at least with, like, this guy, we can only summon him if we have basically this. It might be worth cutting this guy down to 2. Like, he can be special summoned fine. All the cards can be played from the beginning of the game. Yeah, I mean, I much prefer, like, a ban list over, like, a rotation thing. The Chess Archfiend Axe. I've always liked these cards. I pulled a lot of them when Dark Crisis was out, but I could never pull Pandemonium. Your Rocket Cat, what's up? And that was, like, the worst part about it. And I didn't even want that, like, to even build Archfiends. I just got so many Archfiend cards, but they're always, like, the shitty ones, like Deathstroke. Imagine if we had no lists at all. Ugh. It would be the Wild West. It'd just be nothing but, like, OTKs and FTKs. Like, absolutely. Tribe? Oh, yeah. Tribe is great. It's great not to run. I mean, I don't know what other Archfiend options we have. Yeah. A lot of Exodia decks, probably. Nothing but draw cards. And people hoping they draw into, like, Droll and Lockbird. And there'd probably be, like, silly, ridiculous combo decks, too. I would imagine though Exodia would probably be tier 1 because there's so many like draw cards that would just be legal. There is Skull Archer and Lightning. I'm just a little. I mean, we could cut this down to 2 and add 1. It is another Archfiend card, and this was it 1 level lower? A level with a lower level. Okay, so if this guy's destroyed when Pandemonium's on the field, we can special summon any of our 3 currently played Archfiends. That sounds like a wild tournament, Tupac. Hey, we hit 10 likes at some point. Awesome. I'm liking how this is shaping up. I'm still kind of curious on the Slate Warriors. Like, it is too bad that this was fixed. I mean, rightfully so. if For those who don't know or aren't aware, when this card was released during the standby phase meant both players standby phases. So on your opponent's turn, it would have 1900, and then during your turn, it would have 2900. This was fixed. Apparently, it was fixed by the ban list, so we can't really use that exploit without running like a weird. We could do like we could run Swords of Revealing Light. The problem is because otherwise you kind of either have to have your opponent attack into a face down and not be over 1500, or keep in attack mode and just hope your opponent doesn't. It's a very gamble-y card, I guess, befitting something that an archetype that uses die rolls. But we already have like 1900 monsters here. You know what I mean? 2K right here. Plenty of removal. Like, I don't know. This doesn't sound like super useful, especially with all the removal in the game anyway. Raigeki, Dark Hole. Fuck, they could use Snatch Steal, and then we're screwed. Though, just since we have Magical Scientists, though. IOC doesn't have anything new. That's unfortunate. Add the norms for this format anyway. Sunshi. Dimension Fusion, that would be Invasion of Chaos, so it'd be like right after this. If you can find opponents on like Format Library, they have a Discord. Reaper is kind of useless because it can't attack directly. In which, because of Scientist effect, so it's kind of, you can summon it, but it's basically useless. These are essentially like what you would get out. Mainly, like these would be for Scientist OTK, and then the effect ones would be for use. Yeah, definitely join it. Tell them Janjo sent ya. Let's see. Skip up. It's my Slack. I should turn that off because I am not at work currently. Scientist OTK. Oh, it's wild. Acts of Despair is an Archfiend card. Would we ever bother running this is the question. In like a deck like this. Like, I can't even tell you what I would even, like, think about cutting. Like, maybe Call of the Haunted. This is an Archfiend card, and this is... That is true. Yeah, because since this is an Archfiend card, if that's on the field, we can activate Falling Down. But what would we cut? Like, Call would be, like, the first thing that comes to my mind that we could potentially cut. If not, like, a monster? Like a Slate Warrior? No need to cut anything? Have a 41 card deck? I mean, I like the idea of having Axe of Despair, because it does put another card live. And also, like, makes these, like, really big beaters. But the issue is, like, you do have DD Warrior Lady and Tribe and Scientist, like, running around, which can, like, take care of things. Breaker, very prevalent. 3 MSTs, which I suppose that also translates to Falling Down too. Which then begs the question, do we need Falling Down? It is thematic, but you know what I mean? Because we could run instead of Falling Down, just like, you know, a normal staple. I really hate MSC at 3. Like, it has to be at 3 because of Mirage and Nightmare, but bottomless. I mean, I don't hate it. Like, we do have Mirror Force and Ring. Falling Down is basically Snatch Steal if we control an Archfiend monster. I don't hate Bottomless in this deck. But, like, in this format, really. Because while Breaker can prio, it does hit DD Warrior Lady. And Tribe. Although Tribe also has prio. But at that point, then we already have Ring and Mirror Force for battle protection. So how are people liking this new stream layout? So his counter is, I believe that's the Ignition effect. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then you have Pyro, because that automatically happens, like, regardless. Then you have priority to, like, use his effect. I believe that's how it works. Yeah, I feel like you probably could cut out Falling Down for, like, Harp. I probably would put Harpies in its place. But the thing with this deck is that it's built to be very aggressive, right? Where you just want to, like, summon these big beaters and just punch your opponent straight in the dick. Like, you could cut out some monsters if you wanted to. But I don't think we need Axe of Despair. But I could see a world where you ran Axe of Despair is like the thing. I wish this guy could be summoned if you control an Archfiend card. Because that's a much better reason to add Despair. It has to be a monster, so we have to like summon one of these guys. We could summon him. I prefer to keep him as like the hand trap for Terror King, but it's not really that great otherwise. Yo, EJ, what's up? Do you see the first YCS video on YouTube? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. I've seen like one YCS video. I saw the Exodia guy, like that duel with tier elements. I watched that. That was really dope. I do want to do like an Exodia history thing at some point, but it's been such a long time since I did my archetype history. As in the 2 I made. Could potentially cut this guy down to 1. And then add maybe Infernal Queen, but having 2 also it works conjunction with Pandemonium too if like these guys get destroyed. I'm just gonna leave it like this. The problem with the archetypal history stuff is that also I might wear this on like stream all the time. This jacket, y'all like this cheesy ass jacket. FTK Master by Tier Elements too busted. The problem with the archetypal history stuff is that it's never going to be up to date. You know what I mean? Like with the history stuff, like it's set in stone. And I feel like the archetypal stuff always has like an endpoint, and it's never going to be like it has to have an endpoint for the video, but not like an actual. You know, this is the end of the archetype type of deal. I do have an idea of the next 2 I would like to do, and if I ever finish the history series. Which so far I'm on a current good path because this year has been like the entire 5Ds. Next year will be, I don't know how long it'll take me to go through like, the Xyz era, but if I ever finish that, I definitely would do the archetypal stuff more often and stuff like that. But that's like years down the road. I know some archetypes I want to do for it. For at least for like the next 2, which maybe next year will be different. I'm always looking out to improve my stuff, my content strategy. I keep saying I want to do less side videos, but I can't help myself because it takes some of the stress away from doing the history series just by doing like just smaller things that isn't as formulaic. Your FTK series. I think maybe I can do FTKs. I'm always open to ideas. I feel like I want to move on, but I don't know. Something about falling down is like throwing me off. You can make this like really gimmicky if you wanted to. But like the problem is like that card, this card, and basically these 2 cards are all dead cards. Like this card, his best function is when this guy's destroyed. But this guy can only be summoned if this guy's on the field. And this card can only be used if one of these things are on the field. You know what I mean? Like with the do you mean a Mirage Nightmare? So I mean, the Mirage Nightmare works as like any other thing. You use it, draw cards. Ideally, you get or have an MST to destroy it before your standby phase, so you end up with a bunch of cards in hand. Sometimes you just end up drawing a bunch of cards and having to discard stuff. You could potentially run Sinister Serpent in this deck to like counteract some of that. Uh, However, the idea is that's basically why we run 3 MSTs is to combo with this. And like the amount of draws you get with this is kind of nuts not to run, especially in like our deck that's mostly beaters. But the only unfortunate part is that the discards are random. What other Archfiend stuff do we have? We don't really have much to play with. Because all the other ones kind of suck. The only like maybe would be Infernal Queen. I mean, I don't mind running Nightmare. Because MSCs also work too, because we can destroy like Imperial Order if they chain it. Yeah, all the other ones are pretty bad. So we're only playing by like the decks we're building is going to be in regards to that format, that meta. So stuff like Sandgan and Witch will act by its original effect. Stuff like Priority, first turn draw, that kind of stuff. I almost kind of want to go like all in on Slate. Like, let's just fucking go all in on the beatdown, I think. This guy has like a cool like Hades effect too. And like at worst, this guy can defend against like DD Warrior Lady. I think this is looking a little better. I think that's like the thing. We need to make it more of like a beatdowny strat. Kind of like kind of similar to like Earth aggro in a way, like current Goat format, where we just want a lot of like summon punch type of cards. I think I can live with this. I think I've settled on this. I mean, even Pandemonium you could probably cut. But I'm not going to worry about that. So next one, Chaos doesn't, because that's just Invasion of Chaos. It doesn't really give us much to work with. And by the way, for those interested, I do have a Halloween video that is currently up on my Patreon to watch for as little as $2. It's pretty fun. I talk about all of the zombie structure decks, which is fun. And also, you'll get a next week. You'll get a sneak peek on the next history episode. So probably October 2004, I think. Apparently, this was here last week. I don't remember it last week, but apparently it's here since last week. Ooh, I do like Mazera Deville. Mazera Deville. If you don't like him, nobody will. It is very nice to just like take cards out for once. It's so refreshing. It's like getting a haircut or wearing a fresh new pair of underwear on the first day of the year. Very nice. Mazera, because now we have Invasion of Chaos. Okay, I did my live stream. See, I think Edison was Edison ladder right after like on at the end of the week or something. Yeah, because I don't remember that, but I'm also blind and have the memory of a goldfish. Yeah, let's do like a Mazera Deville thing. What do we want for this guy? So Mazera Deville, we tribute this guy, this warrior of Zera, while having Pandemonium on the field. When you special summon, your opponent discards 3 random cards, and it's pretty wild, right? Because now we have Invasion of Chaos and we have Ancient Sanctuary in the fray, and Soul of the Duelist. Those are our new sets. We got 3 new sets. Night Assailant. Night Assailant, I feel like if we're running more flip stuff, I feel like we don't need the Archfiend stuff, maybe? Yeah, definitely Rhoda. Is DD Warrior still at 3? Hate this baseball one. Jesus, dude. That's so crazy. Roses on Moses. Do we... I feel like now's the time to add Terra forming. Because we kind of want to turbo into this guy, right? Like that's the plan. Probably don't need Mirage anymore. Probably add the TT. TT. Yeah, I mean, I think on paper it's pretty good. Like, good stats. Essentially just need, like, 2 cards. Like, it's not a tribute summon, it's a special summon. And yeah, sometimes 3 random either could be, like, dead cards or, like, a Sinister Serpent. Or they might not have 3 cards. And it's also random, you know? But still. Like, we can special summon him. If he's destroyed, we can revive him again and potentially get his effect off. I did. Yeah, I did that. It was like a month, I think. That was just like, it was Mazera and then Zero the Mant and then like Angel Zero. Though I think the Zero the Mant deck was, I think I fucked it up. I think I had a wording issue on my end because I was a dummy. I mean, especially with like Comfy and Forceful Sentry still around, like we can potentially like destroy their entire deck or it's destroy their entire hand game 1, which is kind of nutty. Especially since we can search this guy off with the Rhoda, we can use terraforming to get Pandemonium. Essentially, we're essentially running 4 Pandemoniums at this point. Plus, like, all these guys. And also, I feel like we gotta run more... It's gonna be like a Warrior Fiend type of thing. Renegade Turbo. Uh, we'll do RGT Goat. Yeah, I mean going second, it's not going to be as good, especially when your opponent knows like what, especially like game two if you're going second. It's like they're gonna know. Is Upstart legal? We probably should run Upstart in that case. Because then we can at least, like, again, more chance to get into our game plan. I don't think there are any new fourth while fusions added. Are there any other... I don't think we'll need Mystic Swordsman, which I think was Soul the Duelist. I don't think we need, like, Don Zalug. What other stuff? Mobius? Maybe. I'm a little worried this isn't... I'm like, is this Fiendy enough already? I know it's like half... It's more Warrior than Fiend, but... That is if you assume, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's like 9 Fiend adjacent cards, all things considered. 9 warriors. It evens out for me. Assailant. Assailants, like, these are really good, though. They just take care of things, and they can be searched out. Like, the whole format's, like, revolves around these dudes. These ladies. You keep saying Knight Assailant. I don't think... it does too much. I mean, we're not running a ridiculous amount of monsters. Like, typically you'll see 20 monsters. We're only, at this moment in time, only running 19. Plus, we have other cards to search things out. Reinforcements, Terraforming, Painful Choice, Upstart. Unfortunately, DD Warrior would be OCG only for some time. Dark Mimic. That was Soul the Duelist. Maybe. It works better in like Go Control because you can Metamorphosis. I mean, if you play like modern stun, and sure, but we're also not making a stun deck per se. It's just essentially rip cards out of your opponent's hand type of deck. I mean, we're just kind of building just like a general deck. We're not doing like we're not making a stun deck. Is Hollowed? Is that Ancient Sanctuary? I mean, that's more of a side deck tech, though. I don't hate, like, Smashing Ground. Potentially. Because this will take care of both of these. without worrying about attacks. Same thing with, because we don't have Dark Lord Raigeki anymore. Lightning Vortex is not out yet. I guess Slate Warrior does work with Night Assailant. I'm thinking about it. So we probably could run some of these guys. We could cut out a Pandemonium. Yo, Joshua, what is up? Thank you. We could cut out a Pandemonium. We could cut out one of those. Let's see what Night Assailant does. Because Assailant essentially will add back. I don't want to cut Terra because we definitely want to get into Pandemonium. We want to get this guy out as early as we can. If anything, we'd cut out one Pandemonium, but if we draw this card, then we got Pandemonium, which is key. Yeah, Assailant we can trigger off of Tribe. It's basically it. We don't have Graceful anymore. But we can pull back a Slate Warrior. And also destroys a monster, which is cool. And also your opponent won't know which one's which, potentially. End of Anubis. He's a zombie, right? No, he's a Fiend. I feel like that's not the first time that surprised me. Let's see. I mean, it's a solid effect. I don't know if it fits in our deck because we are running 3 Mazera DeVilles already. We could do something like this. Because at least in this format, you only have Heavy and MSC to destroy stuff. And we are running the Upstart Goblin. Something like this, I don't hate. How are we feeling about something like this? Jeez, it's been so warm over here lately. Holy crap. It's end of October and it's hitting 80. Yeah, I don't hate this. It is Fiend Warriors. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, 7. That's almost half of the monsters are Fiends. Plus that's our game plan, is getting this guy out. This guy is a bona fide Fiend. And a bona fide Fairy. He's a Neapolitan monster, if there ever were one. I do like Smashing Ground, though. It's definitely good tech in this kind of format. Faith might be good. If you really want to double down on, this stuff. We could potentially do, 2 Knights, 2 Faiths, and then run, a card destruction. Potentially. How does this look? So let's not go balls in on the Assailants. Then we can also loop that guy and then Let's say instead of Upstart. How are we feeling about this? I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. Potentially could add like that third Pandemonium. I am tempted. Just so we can ensure we get into it. That's like the biggest worry. Like if we get into it and then it's like destroyed and then we like hard break into Deville and then we're like fucked. Like I don't want that. Like I feel like if running like this stuff, like all these flip things, Cardi is like key because we can dump like a lot of things. I mean, I like Upstart Goblin. Like there's a reason why it's been like off and on the list in different capacities. And depends on the deck. Like card destruction can bite us in the butt sometimes. Like we might not always want it, especially if we're not running like chaos monsters. Which we could. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Honestly? How did I not even think about BLS? I mean, oi. I feel like Exile Force would be like one of the last things we would like actually get in this. Like, boom. I must say I can only play the card deaths in a Dark World deck. I mean, it's great in Dark World. Like, for sure. Just discarding a bunch of cards. I mean, if there ever was one deck to run it, it would probably be that. And I do think it probably should be a staple in Chaos Turbo as well, like Goat Control and Goat format. You know, it's funny, you add BLS, and all of a sudden, like, oh, this looks way more Goat format-y, just from some of these monster choices. It is a little Chaos Turbo-y, in a way. Yeah, last thing I want to do is have them draw into, like, hand traps and stuff. Or the out. I'm liking how this turned out. I think replacing Assailant with some more flippy stuff. You know, we haven't added Nobleman across on any of these decks, which I think is kind of fascinating. Like that would definitely be like, if we had a side deck, it would definitely be in the side deck in a lot of these formats. Yeah, because with Rhoda, like, we're going to want to get Zera or Warrior Lady. So we got plenty of targets for it. All right, that leaves us with the last format, shall we? It's April 2005 GOAT format. This will be the final format we're covering, in which things got changed, needless to say. Duo is back. Mirror Force is back. Oh, these have like the yellow things. How come the other formats don't? Maybe eventually. So now we gotta make an interesting GOAT format decision here. What are the Fiend deck? What is the Fiend deck we want to build? That is the question of the day. Let's see here. Let me... Got like the power spells, the power 5, the power traps. Could do a tomato-y thing. Yeah, I think we're going to move on from the Mazera stuff. It was fun while it lasted. Trying out all these different... Like, we've gone through, like, Necrofear. We've gone through Archfiends. We've gone through Mazera. I'm pretty sure I have Let me open up my other program here. I know I have some like Fiend decks like made from on my large library I've been making. Oh boy, these aren't particularly good. And now we have Rise of Destiny, and we have Flaming Eternity and the Lost Millennium. Maybe it's just one format and all these new sets. We could do like a Fiend zombie thing, but I don't want to do that because we just did zombies last week. Yeah, they don't really add new Fiends, but I think the card pool gives us at least a little more fun to be had. I mean, we could do a Reasoning Gate Fiend deck, I suppose. Maybe. Fire Princess. Arching a Guilford. I don't know. Don't know. We have a lot of interesting fiends to work with. Even something like DD Trainer like even works with Metamorphosis. This guy, level 1. Mephisto Infernal General, Protector of the Sanctuary, Giant Orc. We could do like a skill drain thing. Dark Necrophore Reasoning. Like Dark Mimic also works with Metamorphosis, Brainjacker. While you control another Fiend monster, monsters cannot attack this card. By 1,000. Do you do like a scapegoat DNA surgery thing? Level 8 fusions. There's Gatling Dragon. That would be like your best pick. Other than that, yeah, Gatling Dragon would be like the one you typically would go for. Let's clean this up a bit. Not DD. What am I looking for? Sangan, he's legal again. We could potentially do a Goblin King thing. Maybe Sinister. Yeah, this is going to be interesting for sure. Like, how do we want to go about Fiends in this? So these are all like staple stuff, I would argue. Back to Tomato. Tomato might be the right call. Go back to basics. That's kind of what people like about GOAT format, right? In a lot of ways. Maybe we could go back to like Dark Necrophore. I did make a profile like years ago that was pretty bad. I don't remember what format it was. We have like the dark mimic. You could do like a sort of go control adjacent thing. Gonna need some lights. Can we fit in lights? Could do DNA surgery. Might need to do like a recruiter thing. Just give us a little more light targets to get into. Dark Bakur's deck. I mean, he is like mostly known for like fiend stuff. You know, fiends and ghosts and ghouls. If we play Goblin King. Considering that stuff. We are running a solid amount of fiends. Oh, that makes sense. Just give him a bunch of fiend cards to play. I mean, we could potentially add Kaiku. I just don't know what we would necessarily cut. We could do like 1 and 1. Add 1 Kaiku. We still have a lot of fiends, right? We still have 6 fiends for Necrofear. Though honestly, you could even like argue like doing this instead. Metamorphosis was played in GX because Jaden, the character Jaden, used it with Elemental Hero Bubble Man. This is very like it's like Fiend Go Control. I think that's kind of what we're working with here. Why do I got terraforming in there? Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Blah. Jaden had a weird deck when you like look at it. It's in some regards it's rather bricky, but it's also kind of cool that he, like all of his elemental heroes kind of can work with each other. I feel like Creature Swap's a good card to have in this deck. Probably either Book of Moon or like Knock, I think. Because Knock also works too. Yeah, Jaden had Mirror Force, Mirage. Yeah, in that regard, yes, his back row game was on point for sure. Could potentially even run just like 2 metas. Potentially. I don't think I will, though. Could cut the dust for like 1 knock. We're not really going all out on dust shoot. Deck's like control-y anyway. Right. We can probably go more into like this kind of thing. Add like 1 decree. 2 knocks. Something like that. How's that looking? I'm not hating this. Would have been nice to like find room for a book, but I don't think we fit in a book unless we cut out a meta. But I think 2 and 3 is a good ratio. Like if anything, we potentially could run like a second Sook, which could cut out a Kaiku for that. Could I don't know if I want to cut down anything else. We need the light targets. I don't want to cut out too many fiends. I feel like Kaiku might be the one we would like want to cut. It's like something like this. I actually really like this. Not gonna lie. I'm actually really liking how this one's looking. We're kind of taking a play on the recent World Championships with the one Shining Angel. I think the problem with Shining Angel is that there's never like enough good targets. Like aside from DD Warrior Lady, you kind of just got like Roulette Barrel. Like otherwise, we could potentially get into Faith and like Tsukiyomi it. But if we're just running 1, then it's just the 1, right? It's just a light that can maybe get us into this, if anything. But I do not hate it. And also, I'm going to be posting all these decks on my Discord. Maybe tomorrow or later sometime in the next coming days. I think we did a lot of good decks, though. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decks. How many of the zombie ones did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We did 9. Wow. So, not quite as much, but a pretty good amount. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed this like other spooky stream. I'll probably do water decks next time, and then after that, a different idea, I think. Because I've wanted to do the water one for a while, and I'll enjoy everyone on these streams. I do acknowledge that it's not the most popular of my streaming ideas, but I have fun doing it. I enjoy deck building. Probably for like the most part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Honestly, it's just the deck building I enjoy. But yeah, so hope you all had a fun time, and until I see you all next time, have a wonderful